Welcome back to another evening of Scotch Hour. I'm Noah.
And I'm Jesse. All right. Well, this week, as you mentioned, it is the Grangestone single malt Scotch double maturation. That first stage is matured in American oak casks traditional. And then the second stage is in the Madeira casks, and the Madeira casks, Madeira wine is wine that is from the islands of Portugal, just off, as we found out, the coast of Africa, if you will, which is really weird to think of, but it is the Portuguese islands, the Portugal Islands, and it is a group of wines that dates back to the 1700s when they used wine to trade, and they found out that because of its maturation process on ships in the sea with extreme heat and also contact with oxygen, that it actually made it a very unique wine, and also a wine that can last decades or centuries, decades even after open sometimes, which is just amazing.
Yeah, so it follows, like the history follows really closely to ports. The way the ports came about is like there was the French-English War that was going on, and then the English wanted to get some wine, but obviously they couldn't get through France, so they had to go through Portugal and get Portuguese wine. The Portuguese wine was so poorly made that by the time they made it over to England, it would spoil. So what would happen is like the captains or the crew is that they would start pouring I think it was brandy or some kind of liqueur into the casks, and made the fortified wine. That's how you ended up with port.
Something that's interesting about this Scotch is it's part of, what is the conglomerate you called it?
QSI.
QSI.
Yeah, it's part of Quality Spirits International, which is a wholly owned subsidiary of the largest Scotch whiskey company, which we found out to be Grant and Son.
That's right, William Grant and Sons.
So apparently QSI, which is the subsidiary that owns Grangestone through William Grant and Son, they're located in Glasgow, established in 1992 to manage their brand and private labels.
And William Grant and Sons has been the proud owner of some of the scotches we have really enjoyed, including some of the Balvenis we've had on our show previously. Absolutely delicious.
Right, and then QSI, they've also had some scotches that we tried, which have been the Glenfoddery. When we tried it, when we had cooked some great steaks, I think you cooked them, and we had Brian on the show.
That's right.
We did I think it was like a little 3-pack. And then we also had some Craig Isles.
Yes. 40% ABV. And I'm looking forward to trying this one out. I think with the Madeira casks, I think the only other Scotch that possibly I've tried that has one of those finishes, the 7-wood, those sorts of finishes that they've really gone out of their way to mature and age and flavor the Scotch in so many different types of wood.
While being that Madeira has a little bit of a sweeter fortified wine, I'd imagine there's going to be some nice nutty notes with sweetness to it.
Yeah, gonna have a little bit of that sherry flavor most likely.
That's what I'm anticipating.
All right. Well, anything else you want to say about Grangestone before we jump in?
I don't think so.
All right.
I mean, there wasn't a whole lot to find about that.
Yeah, we really had to dig to find the ties between QSI and William Grant and Sons. William Grant and Sons, and that is interesting. They've definitely gone out of their way to hide some of those ties, whether it be with Total Wine or whoever ultimately is connecting these two dots. The canister, handsome, textured. I do love the texture on the canister. The bottle, it's one of those short, stout bottles, but I'm loving it.
Yeah, the packaging looks pretty nice. Even the labeling with the color format that they use, with the kind of like a lighter matted blue. with the black and the gold there. Just kind of makes it really easy and pleasant to the eyes, and it's designed fairly well.
Absolutely. Well, let's rip this foil and see what we can taste.
All right. Normally, we like to have a wooden top here, but we've noticed that some of the higher ends are starting to go with some plastic tops, so real cork is always a plus.
All right.
All right, plastic, it looks like.
I think it's wood.
Is it?
It's either if it's plastic, they've got a wood grain in it.
Oh, okay, cool. Wood. From here and the way the light was shining off, it almost looked like it was plastic.
Yes. Oh,
Definitely looks like real cork.
It's got some pros here. It's got some positives.
Got nice coloring. All right. Off to our warp speed and cheers.
Cheers.
Double maturation Grangestone from the Madeira casks. It is a interesting bottle. That's what I'll start off by saying about this particular bottle here. It was approximately right around somewhere between the $34 and $39 range at Total Wine. You said the ABV is at 40%?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So when I first look at the coloring, and I would lift up my glass, but it doesn't really have a whole lot left in there. But I would say it's somewhere between, I put a light to medium goldish color. And in the bottle, it looks a lot darker. And we have a little bit more of a glass like Jesse had shown on his, when he put it up. It looks darker compared to my little bit that I have left, which looks like it's really light in color. So, this particular Scotch was really hard for me to pinpoint. Not a whole lot of information out there either for me to kind of go off of. But when we first opened it up, I originally got caramel, vanilla, and some malt. However, as it kind of continued to introduce itself to us, I've now settled on more of a green floral scent with hints of caramel and vanilla. I mean, that's probably about as close as I can get to pinpointing what it smells like to me, because it keeps changing, and there's something in there that I can't really pinpoint, but that's probably about as close as I'm going to get as of right now. When it hits my palate, I'm getting sweet biscuit with vanilla, oak, and dried fruit. You know how when you get those sweet milk biscuits or something like that, like the sweet biscuit kind of taste. That's kind of like what I'm getting here on this one. And then my finish, it's mellow, but it has like a little like a slight maltiness with a lingering bitter sweetness to it. And I don't really know how. And in that and also in that finish there, I do get a little bit of malt. And it is that bitter sweetness that you get from there. I'm not really sure. It's almost kind of like a bitter sweetness I would get from a bittersweet cocoa that's like close to like 98%, or not maybe 98, but like 89, 90% cocoa, dark chocolate, where you get that kind of like it's like a bittersweet, and it's not really something like I think a lot of people would enjoy. But I do like the bittersweetness. I'm not really sure about. I would take it to a poker game. And the reason why I take it to a poker game, because if you're playing poker and you're smoking cigars, I don't think the guys are really going to care like what they're drinking. I'm not really sure if I would take this to like a nice event or black. Definitely take it. I definitely would not take it to a black tie affair or event. I would definitely share it with people, but I probably wouldn't share it with the beginning Scotch drinker. Because I wouldn't want, if I was going to share a Scotch with someone who doesn't really drink Scotch and they're like a beginner, I don't think this is a very good introductory Scotch. Nothing wrong with that. It's just I don't think it would appeal to a lot of like new drinkers. People who are a little bit more experienced with Scotch, I definitely would share it with them. I don't know what else to really say with this one here, because it continues to open up and continues to like change its characteristics on me. I do like it, but I'm not like in awe of it. Would I recommend buying it? I'd say if you're a Scotch drinker, give it a shot. You may actually love it. Or you may be just as dumbfounded about me when it comes to like the smell, the taste, and everything else about it. I definitely would say that if I was going to be cooking with some Scotch, I definitely would use it with cooking.
There you go.
But I'm at a loss of words for what to say about this particular kind, this particular Scotch. And, also I think what gives it a little bit of disservice too is we've come off of like multiple weeks of like drinking like excellent Scotches. So maybe that's where I'm struggling a little bit here, because like some of those other ones, you could definitely like pick up like a lot of those great characteristics. This one here, I'm struggling, and maybe, I don't know. I like it, but at the same time, it's not something I would rave about.
Well, for me, like, let's start from the top. Color, definitely that light to medium gold. 100% agree with that. The color, it does look darker in the bottle. And I think part of that's because they probably did a nice job. If you look at the inside of the labels, they look dark. So they're really refracting the light in there, doing a nice job with that thicker bottle as well, making it look more of that caramel flavor, caramel color. I do like the bottle. I do. I really enjoy this canister. I love the texture. We get to the Scotch, and what I can say is the first time I smelled it, I was a little worried, because the first smell I got was that smell you get when you've got a handful of old pennies in your hand and you've been carrying them around sweating. You think of it as a kid waiting to go buy your 5-cent candy bar. Now it's $5 candy bar, inflation. But with that, that was the smell, was that copper metallic, dirty copper metallic smell was the first smell I got. And the first taste I got was very sweet, with chocolate and mocha and honey and oak, and everything was very distinct. As it sat for 5 minutes or so, things have really changed. Now on the nose, it's totally mellow. I might get a hint of mocha and a little bit of spice in there. But other than that, I don't get much off the nose. The palate has opened up to right at the front, just for a second, a hint of orange, followed by sweet, almost like honey roasted nuts. And then it goes like it's doing a U-turn, and it goes from these honey roasted nuts to raisin, oak, a hint of ginger and cinnamon, and then the finish just goes dry, like a sherry and oak. I kind of dig it, but I'm still trying to figure it out. It is unlike, here's a pro for this. I would love to do this one in a flight. I want to try this now with a cognac finish, a sherry finish, this Madeira finish, and then also just something standard like a Benriach or a Balvenie, just a 12, where, to your point, like, we've come off these highs, and I don't know that this is bad. I just can't right now say that it's something that I'm going to run out and buy. But at the same time, I would love to try this in a flight. I'm looking forward to trying this next to a couple other Scotches to really see what it is that I should be looking for. I cannot say I am a Madeira wine connoisseur. I have had it once in my life that I remember, and it was probably a cheap bottle of it because it was only $30. I got it Total Wine. I loved the label, which is why I bought it. That label is now framed on the wall of the person who bought me the only other Grangestone I've ever had, which was Marissa. She bought me the 18-year, which was fantastic. I drank it. I loved it. It was a gift from her to me. I finished it. I went to go get more. That was a few years ago. I have not seen that version on Total Wine's shelves again. And they keep trying to get us to buy these others, and I've been very hesitant. There's a lot of scotches out there. I've been hesitant knowing that it does appear to be a Total Wine brand. So with that, of course, they're going to push it, but they can't tell me much, if anything, about it, just like I can't research it here years later after first trying it on the internet. Again, though, I think it's fun. I would love to try it in a flight. It's not offensive. It's easy drinking. I agree with you. This is not a first-time Scotch drinker's Scotch, though, because this doesn't have some of those more traditional flavors we have had in some of those great scotches. So this is definitely a variant. It's, it's like going from vodka to Fireball or something without the spice. So it is fun. Would I take it to a poker night? Yeah, I would. It would be an interesting topic to speak about during the game. I would not be afraid of ruining the flavor with a cigar. Who knows, it might even bring it out. We did try adding a little bit of H2O to our scotch as we were tasting it, Noah and I both, and it did seem to bring out more of the notes in the nose at the beginning, and then also a little bit more in the palate. If I'm trying to wow somebody, this is not the scotch I'm bringing. This is not the black tie event scotch. It is definitely fun though. So Grangestone did a nice job with this variety, and I look forward again to doing it in a flight and really seeing how it truly compares to what I was expecting.
Yeah, give it a shot.
You go, boy. More power to you.
I don't know what to say because, it's not like I don't like it, but it's not like I would rave about it either. It's somewhere in the middle.
See, and now as I'm sipping it here, I'm getting orange and cinnamon at the front, and that sip right there was fantastic. It's just it's like back and forth. It's like, it's like some of the movies I think we're going to rave about in our Smarter Challenge here. It's a surprise for sure.
We hope you enjoyed this evening's episode of Scotch Hour. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. Also, if you have not done so already, please become a Patron member, with memberships starting as low as $1 a month. Thank you, and hopefully you have a wonderful evening.